Welcome to this presentation on collision avoidance using Actin Viewer. In this presentation, we demonstrate how we can configure a manipulator for collision avoidance. So let's begin by loading a manipulator. Let's use the Cyton Gamma 2 manipulator. We would need the shape primitive plugin in order to introduce a shape or a collision avoidance region into the system. So let's load the shape primitive plugin. Let's introduce a shape into the system. Select the plus as manipulator button and let's say the object is spherical in nature. Let's give a name to this object. Let's call it the avoidance region. By default, the parameters of the object are in SI units. So the radius is 0.1 meters and the center is 0, 0, 0, which is the center of the system coordinates. You notice that the object has been added at the base of the manipulator, which is the center of the system coordinates. So let's move this object a little away from the manipulator. Select the manipulator configuration option from the menu and give an offset by which you would want the object to be moved for the XYZ coordinates. So now you notice that the object has been moved by an offset from the Cyton Gamma 2 manipulator. Let's set an end effector for the Cyton Gamma 2 manipulator. So I'm going by the default end effector. This end effector is a point end effector, which means that the manipulator is constrained only by position and not by orientation. Let's hit the play button and move the guide frame, and you notice or you observe that the manipulator tries to follow the guide frame irrespective of the object in the environment. So effectively it is colliding with the object, or it is going right through the object to follow the guide frame, which may not be a desired option in certain circumstances. Thus, we would want to configure the manipulator to avoid this region or avoid colliding with this object, which is called as collision avoidance. So let's check how we can configure for collision avoidance. We would need a plugin called the Control System plugin. So let's load the Control System plugin. This adds a menu option called Position Control System under the Edit menu. Select the control system parameters. This allows us to configure the several control parameters for a manipulator. Select the Gamma 2 manipulator and click on the control system descriptor. You would find an option called End Effector Error Filter. Select this option and you notice that it brings up the several properties or the control system parameters that can be configured for the manipulator. Select this Stop at Collision property. Notice that the value is by default false. So let's set it to true, which says that the manipulator should stop at collision, or it should stop when it senses the collision region. Let's save this option, click on the OK button, and now let's observe how the manipulator behaves with the option set. And you notice that the manipulator stops just short of the avoidance region. Even though the guide frame is moving, the manipulator stops before the collision region. There is a slight distance at which it stops before the collision avoidance region, And this distance is controlled by several parameters, one of them being the bounding volumes of the manipulator. So you notice that the position at which the bounding volume of the manipulator touches the object or the collision avoidance region, the manipulator stops. So now the system has been set up for collision avoidance with a static region. Thanks for watching this presentation.